Proteins. Protein is the body's main building material. It helps form muscle, skin, organs, enzymes, hormones, and even parts of the immune system. If the body is constantly repairing, replacing, and rebuilding itself, protein is involved almost everywhere. That is what makes it different from nutrients that are mostly used for energy. Protein can be burned for fuel when needed, but its more important job is structure and maintenance. It comes from foods like meat, fish, eggs, dairy, beans, lentils, soy, and nuts, and different sources bring different mixes of amino acids. The smaller parts protein is made of. Some of those amino acids must come from food because the body cannot make them on its own. That is why protein quality matters, not just protein amount. In daily life, protein is what helps a child grow, helps an athlete recover, and helps an older adult hold on to strength. Without enough of it, the body does not simply feel tired. Over time, healing slows down. Muscles weaken, hair can thin, and basic functions become harder to support. Protein is not a trendy nutrient or a fitness-only nutrient. It is one of the most constant needs the human body has, from the first stages of life to the last. Fats. Fat is often misunderstood because people hear the word and think only about body weight. But dietary fat is one of the most essential nutrients we need to stay alive. It gives the body concentrated energy, helps build cell membranes, protects organs, supports brain function, and allows certain vitamins to be absorbed properly. Vitamins A, D, E, and K depend on fat to move through the body the way they should. That alone makes fat impossible to replace. It comes from foods like oils, butter, dairy, eggs, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish. But not all fats behave the same way. Some support heart and brain health, while others are better kept in check when they show up too often in heavily processed foods. For most of human history, fat was valuable because it provided long-lasting fuel in times when food was not always predictable. That survival role is still written into our biology. Fat also changes how food feels and satisfies. Meals with some fat tend to be more filling, more stable, and less likely to leave you hungry again too quickly. Without enough fat in the diet, the body can struggle with hormones, dry skin, poor absorption of key vitamins, and low energy over time. Fat is not just extra storage, it is part of the body's basic operating system. Vitamins? Vitamins are tiny nutrients with an outsized role in keeping the body running smoothly. Unlike protein, fat, or carbohydrates, they do not provide calories, but they help the body use everything else correctly. They support vision, immunity, blood clotting, nerve function, energy release from food, skin health, and countless chemical reactions that happen quietly every second. That is what makes vitamins different. They are not fuel and they are not building blocks in the usual sense. They are more like essential helpers that allow larger systems to work as they should. They come from a wide range of foods, including fruits, vegetables, eggs, dairy, meat, legumes, and whole grains, and each vitamin has its own job. Vitamin C helps with repair and immune support. Vitamin D helps manage calcium. The B vitamins help turn food into usable energy. Vitamin A supports sight and healthy tissues. Because they are needed in small amounts, it is easy to underestimate them. But the body notices when they are missing. Over time, low vitamin intake can show up as weakness, poor healing, low immunity, nerve problems, or changes in skin and vision. Vitamins may seem like a small detail in the diet, yet without them, the body starts losing its ability to manage itself well. Minerals. Minerals are the nutrients the body pulls from the earth through food and water, and they are just as essential as vitamins, though they work in a different way. They help build bones and teeth, balance fluids, move oxygen through the blood, support nerves, regulate heartbeat, and allow muscles to contract and relax properly. Some, like calcium and phosphorus, help give the body structure. Others, like iron, zinc, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and iodine, keep vital systems steady behind the scenes. That is what makes minerals so important. They are not made by plants or animals in the way vitamins can be. They come from soil, water, and the natural food chain, then enter the body through things like dairy, leafy greens, beans, meat, seafood, nuts, seeds, and grains. A person may not think much about iron until low levels bring fatigue and weakness, or about potassium until muscle function and fluid balance are affected. The same is true for calcium, which becomes especially important over the years as bones face constant wear. Minerals are needed in different amounts, but none of them are optional. Even small imbalances can affect how the body feels and performs. They are quiet nutrients, yet they help control some of the body's most basic and sensitive functions. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the body's fastest and most accessible source of energy. They are broken down into glucose, which fuels the brain, powers muscles, and helps keep the nervous system working properly from one moment to the next. That is what separates carbohydrates from the other major nutrients. Fat provides longer-lasting stored energy, and protein is mostly reserved for building and repair. But carbohydrates are what the body prefers to use first when it needs immediate fuel. They come from foods like rice, bread, oats, fruit, beans, potatoes, milk, and vegetables. Though not all carbohydrate sources affect the body in the same way. Some arrive with fiber, vitamins, and minerals, while others are stripped down into rapidly absorbed sugars that give quick energy but less staying power. Human diets across history have almost always included carbohydrates in some form, whether from grains, roots, fruits, or other starchy plants. That is not an accident. The brain in particular depends heavily on a stable supply of glucose, which is one reason low energy intake can feel so mentally draining. Carbohydrates also help spare protein from being used as backup fuel when food is available. Without enough of them, people can feel weak, foggy, irritable, or unusually tired, especially during physical or mental effort. Carbohydrates are not simply fillers on a plate. They are one of the body's main ways of staying active, alert, and functional through the day. Water. Water is the nutrient the body depends on most urgently and most constantly. A person can survive far longer without food than without water, because nearly every system in the body relies on it minute by minute. It helps carry nutrients through the blood, regulate temperature, cushion joints, protect tissues, support digestion, remove waste, and keep cells functioning in the environment they need. That is what makes water different from every other nutrient. It is not just something the body uses. It is the medium that allows the body to work at all. It comes from drinking water, other beverages, and water-rich foods like fruits, vegetables, soups, and dairy. But the body is always losing it through sweat, breath, urine, and normal daily function. That means it must be replaced again and again. Even mild dehydration can affect mood, focus, energy, and physical performance more quickly than many people realize. As water levels drop, blood volume changes, temperature control becomes less efficient, and simple tasks can start to feel harder. The body has many ways to adapt, but only up to a point. Water may seem too ordinary to notice, yet that is exactly why it matters so much. It is involved in so many quiet processes that people often only notice it when they do not have enough. Fiber. Fiber is the part of plant food the body cannot fully break down, and that is exactly why it matters. While many nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream, fiber moves through the digestive system more slowly, changing how food is handled along the way. It helps support regular digestion, feeds beneficial gut bacteria, slows the absorption of sugar, and can help manage cholesterol by interacting with fats and waste inside the gut. That makes fiber different from other carbohydrates. It is not there mainly to provide quick fuel. Its value comes from what it does while passing through the body rather than from what the body extracts from it directly. Fiber comes from foods like vegetables, fruits, beans, lentils, oats, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, which is one reason diets rich in plant foods tend to support long-term health in so many ways at once. For most of human history, people naturally ate much more fiber than many modern diets provide now. Once food became more refined, a great deal of that fiber disappeared. The result is that many people eat enough calories but still fall short on one of the nutrients that helps the digestive system work properly. Without enough fiber, digestion can become sluggish, blood sugar can rise more sharply after meals, and hunger may return sooner. Fiber may not sound dramatic, but it quietly shapes how the body handles food from beginning to end. Antioxidants. Antioxidants are protective compounds that help defend the body against damage caused by unstable molecules produced during normal life. Those molecules build up through everyday metabolism, but also through stress, pollution, smoking, sunlight, and inflammation. Left unchecked, they can gradually damage cells, proteins, and even DNA. That is where antioxidants matter. They help limit that wear and tear before it spreads too far. Unlike nutrients such as protein or minerals, antioxidants are not one single substance. They are a wide family of compounds, including vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, and many plant chemicals found in colorful foods. Berries, leafy greens, nuts, beans, tea, cocoa, herbs, and deeply colored vegetables are some of the richest natural sources. What makes antioxidants especially interesting is that they often come bundled with the foods most linked to long-term health, which is why people usually hear about them in the context of fruits and vegetables. Their role is not to make the body invincible or to cancel out every harmful habit. It is quieter than that. They help reduce the accumulated strain that daily life places on living tissue. Over time, that matters because health is not shaped only by big events. It is also shaped by small damage the body has to manage again and again. Antioxidants are part of that defense system, working in the background to help cells stay more stable, resilient, and protected.